Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Royal Ramble podcast. I am your host, Zach Stevens, and we are here to review the episode of SmackDown Live from July 11th, 2017, out of San Antonio, Texas, at the AT&T Center. As always, guys, you can follow us on Twitter at RAMBLE_cast. Again, that is RAMBLE_cast. We just hit over 400 followers over there on Twitter, so thank you so much to everybody who's followed us over there. It means a lot. We are also on YouTube as well. That is where you're going to find the highest quality episodes that we have to offer. It also has our entire backlog of episodes, so if you want to hear our Great Balls of Fire review from a couple days ago, or even our Money in the Bank review from about a month ago, all of those episodes are over there on YouTube, so hit that subscribe button and listen to us over there. That is the destination to listen to the Royal Ramble podcast. But also, we are on Podbean. If you want to listen to us on the go, on your way to work, or while you're working out, whatever you want to do, check us out over there at royalrambleradio.podbean.com. You can add our RSS feed to any of your podcast apps that you use, so that is an easy way to listen to us on the go. As always, though, if there are any first-time listeners, basically what we do here on the Royal Ramble podcast is we go over Raw, SmackDown, or the pay-per-view that we're reviewing. We do an entire recap of the matches, as well as providing some critique and review. So if this is your first time listening, that is what we do. We watch Raw and SmackDown so that you don't have to. But as we head into this SmackDown Live, guys, let's get into this review. As always, we start off with some questions. I usually jot these questions down before I watch the show to kind of find out if WWE is going to give us any substantial answers to some of the things that we are thinking about as we head into the episode. The number one question tonight, obviously, is what is going to happen with that KO AJ Styles situation. Obviously, they had AJ win the U.S. title on a house show. That was a big breaking news thing that happened over the weekend. And what are they going to do with that? What is going to be the big story for that? And what will we do as we head into Battleground in 2 weeks? Are we going to have another AJ versus KO match at Battleground? Or are they going a completely new direction and dropping Kevin Owens from this title feud altogether? We will find out tonight. My second question would have been, is Chad Gable going to continue to get a singles push? He had that incredible match with AJ Styles last week on SmackDown Live. Is he going to continue to get these singles pushes, or will American Alpha finally team back up, and will we see Jason Jordan and Chad Gable as a tag team again? My third question would be, who is going to be the next challenger for the women's title? Obviously, that title has been kind of in flux lately. There's been a lot of matches with Lana that have lasted, anywhere from 1 minute to 1 second, basically. So the title is kind of in flux right now. Not really sure what direction they're going to go with that thing. Hopefully, we can get some answers for Battleground and the title tonight. Another question I would have would be, will John Cena be here tonight? He was not on Raw last night after, declaring himself as a free agent who can go to either brand. He was not on that Raw, so will he be on SmackDown Live? We will find out. And then finally, Battleground is only 2 weeks away. Are we going to finally get a clearer picture of that card tonight? Are they going to build up some of those matches and let us know what we can expect on that pay-per-view? We do know a few of the matches. Obviously, John Cena and Rusev is one of them. But other than that, there haven't been many other ones outside of maybe the WWE title match between Orton and Jinder Mahal. So they need to finally tell us what matches we're going to be getting on that card so that we can head into that pay-per-view with a clearer picture of what exactly is going on. So guys, we start off this show, and it's a highlight from last Tuesday's SmackDown Live, where we had that Battle Royal where AJ Styles won to become the number one contender. Then they go on to show cell phone videos of the win from AJ at Madison Square Garden at that house show. They include reaction shots from certain YouTubers who were at the event and, showing how shocked they were when AJ actually won it. I thought this was a great little package here and really set up the show and kind of told the story to everyone who maybe didn't know that AJ got that title at a house show. They start off by introducing AJ Styles as the new United States champion. The crowd goes absolutely crazy from the get-go. AJ is just as hot as ever. He is decked out in his new Phenomenal One t-shirt. It is completely USA themed. I thought this was a great looking shirt. compared to that horrible Roman Reigns shirt that we saw last night, the Superman punch shirt, that thing is fucking garbage. That thing needs to go in the trash. This AJ Styles Phenomenal One t-shirt is fucking good looking. And I thought it was interesting that they gave him a USA themed t-shirt, considering Kevin Owens could potentially take the title back on Sunday or whenever they have their rematch at Battleground. So very interesting that they have that out there as a product right now. We get very loud AJ Styles chants before he even starts to speak. He's just standing in the ring and everyone is applauding and chanting for AJ. AJ goes on to say, well, it looks like Battleground came a little early for AJ Styles at Madison Square Garden. He says that he wouldn't call himself the face of America, but compared to Kevin Owens, this is definitely an upgrade. He says this isn't about KO or AJ. It's about the U.S. title that's around his waist and what it will represent. AJ then goes on to mention that this title used to have an open challenge, which is one of my favorite things that they ever did with this title. Whenever John Cena had it, he would do the open challenge each week on Raw, and that was one of my favorite things. So I'm already thinking, man, I hope they bring that back with AJ. That would be awesome. Then AJ says, I think it's about time we bring it back. So already I'm thinking, fuck yes, my favorite wrestler, bringing back one of my favorite gimmicks. This is already starting off to be a great SmackDown Live. I am absolutely invested. I am pumped in this. The crowd is getting hyped for the open challenge as well. He goes on to say that this title has been overlooked for too long, and from now on, when you see this title around someone's waist, you will know that they are the best. He then opens up the challenge, essentially telling someone from the locker room to come out here and prove him wrong. There's a long wait here. Not sure who's going to come out. AJ even uses John Cena's old catchphrase saying, this is the AJ Styles Open Challenge, and it starts right now, which is exactly what John Cena used to say during his Open Challenge. Quick side note here, though. I really love how AJ is constantly stealing little things from John Cena. First it was that whole, face that runs the place gimmick. He stole that from him after he beat him. And now he's doing this, kind of stealing John Cena's old open challenge gimmick as well. So it really kind of keeps their feud in everyone's memory. And who knows, man, maybe we'll probably end up getting another Cena-AJ match down the line. I imagine that is definitely where WWE wants to go at some point. So in the end, just great work all around here by AJ and the creative staff, constantly stealing little things from Cena and keeping their feud in our memory. Well, as we're sitting there waiting to find out who the challenge will be opened by or accepted by, out comes John Cena. Of course, should have seen that coming, right? Already I'm thinking, holy shit, are we really about to get AJ versus Cena to kick off SmackDown Live? This is the A show without a doubt if this actually happens. Cena gets into the ring, he grabs a mic, boos are obviously pouring down on Cena here. He says that I just want to make sure you realize what you just said. You said US Open Challenge. That must mean everyone but me, right? AJ retorts with, no, that means you, especially you. Cena then calls for a ref. The ref comes down. These guys get ready to go. They go through their whole introduction with the ringside announcer, really getting me to believe that this is actually about to happen. And as soon as the bell is about to ring, of course, WWE isn't about to give us this match for free on television, because as soon as it's about to start, what do we hear? We hear Kevin Owens music. I should have seen that coming. They got me with the swerve. I was buying into this match, and then, of course, Kevin Owens' music hits, and then we all know where this is going. So I think it is important to note here, though, that Kevin's Titantron graphics are all still the same. He's still wearing the same KO US-themed t-shirt. All of his graphics are done in the American style, so they haven't quite dropped the whole Face of America gimmick from Kevin Owens, and they still refer to him as the Face of America. So we will see what happens, man. It's making me think that, they don't even know who they want to keep this title or get back the title. It could be AJ or KO at Battleground. We don't know yet, and they haven't really shown any indication of what their plans are either. Kevin comes out, he says, no, we don't want to see another stupid AJ Styles versus John Cena match. We've already had to sit through way too many of them. Obviously, this crowd is booing this, and rightfully so. We all want to see this match again because of how awesome it was. He says that the only thing that matters is the man who rightfully deserves that title gets it back, and that's me. He asks John why he even came back in the first place, saying that we don't want him here. He then tells Cena to get away from his title because no one wants to see him. John then gets back on the mic. He says, it's not that you don't want to see me, it's that you can't see me. Oh shit, Cena, you got him. You got him right there, buddy. Anyway, John tells KO if he steps in the ring, he will run through you. Then he turns to AJ and says, then I'll run through you. Then all of a sudden, John Cena turns around and Rusev appears out of nowhere and just spears Cena. AJ tries to help Cena, but KO comes in and just power bombs AJ. Rusev then gets the accolade onto Cena. No ref to stop it. AJ and Cena both are laid out here. We get very loud USA chants. Then KO and Rusev leave as AJ and Cena are out cold. God damn it. This opening segment got me good. I honestly thought we were going to get AJ versus Cena for a second there, but I should have known it wasn't going to happen. They aren't going to give us that match on television for free. As it got closer to the match, though, I started thinking, okay, well, wait a second. Where is Kevin Owens? You know he's going to come out here, but still, they did get me for a second there, so nice swerve by WWE. I am still completely invested in seeing an AJ Cena match because when you tease it, I go full Mark mode, man. I am like completely buying in here. I wasn't even thinking about anything else. Like I said, Kevin Owens kind of slipped out of my mind for a second there when they were gearing up and getting ready to go. So I'm obviously ready for another AJ versus Cena match. I don't know if we're going to get that anytime soon, but I am completely invested in that. And anytime you tease one of those matches, my ears and my eyes are open. This opening segment was awesome, though. Rusev taking out Cena out of nowhere kind of helps build up their match for Battleground, which we already know we're going to get. And KO is obviously not done with AJ Styles yet. He obviously wants to get that rematch, so it does kind of look like they're setting up for AJ versus KO at Battleground as of now, which is kind of what we all expected. But like I said earlier, the big question then becomes who is going to win this match? I honestly do not know, and that kind of piques my interest in that match a little bit more. The fact that I can't easily guess who it's going to be makes me even more invested and more interested in watching that match. We do eventually, though, we get a tag match announced between all four of these men, which we probably all saw that coming. So we will get to see Rusev and KO versus AJ and Cena. So AJ and Cena teaming up for the first time. That's going to be interesting. They also go on to announce that we're going to get Ty Dillinger versus Jinder Mahal. And I'm already thinking, oh man, that's not going to end well for Ty. This is not looking good. And they also announced that we are going to get Baron versus Shinsuke tonight as well, which I'm kind of thinking, well, I kind of thought that was going to be a Battleground match. I can't believe they're going to give that to us tonight. So maybe this will be their warm-up match to kind of get some more heat between this feud for Battleground, but we will see what happens. Anyway, we go to our next segment here, and it is in ring, and it's Jinder Mahal coming to the ring. The Singh brothers obviously announcing him before he comes out. Then Ty Dillinger comes out, who does get a pretty big reaction from the San Antonio crowd. I do love that Ty Dillinger is getting on TV again for the second week in a row. That's obviously a lot better than where he was before, just completely MIA. But the fact still remains, man, I completely fear for him in this spot because there's no way they're going to have Jinder Mahal lose here. He is the champion. They aren't going to have him lose to Ty Dillinger. And honestly, Ty Dillinger does not need to be losing matches right now, considering the mainstream audience still doesn't know much about Ty Dillinger. They kind of need to elevate him some way, and if they just have him go out here and lose to Jinder easily, that's not going to be good for anybody. I don't think that's going to help Jinder, and it's definitely not going to help Ty Dillinger. So anyway, the match starts. Jinder tosses Ty around the ring after a lockup in the corner. Ty has a nice cross body onto Jinder from the middle rope. Jinder, however, hits him with a nasty clothesline and ends up regaining control. Jinder gets him in a face lock and then starts raking the nose, eye area. We go to commercial, and when we come back, Jinder is still in control. Jinder has a scoop slam onto Ty. Ty then eventually gets in control and starts doing the 10 punches on top of the post, but Jinder is able to push him off. Jinder then just meets him with a nasty-looking knee. He grabs him, hits him with the Colossus. 1, 2, 3, Jinder wins. Damn, guys, that was a quick match. Ty barely got any action at all in this thing. Jinder just came out, asserted his dominance from the get-go, and basically Ty just kind of got his ass kicked. That is not a good sign for Ty Dillinger. Him being on the show is obviously a plus from, not being on it at all for a few weeks there. But when you're out there just jobbing to the champion, that isn't necessarily the best place to be either. So hopefully he doesn't continue to get treated like this. Ty is a serious star. And with a little bit of a push from WWE, he could be a big star, man. So the crowd is always behind this guy. They're always doing the 10 chants. Everyone wants to get behind Ty Dillinger. So I'm really hoping that WWE creative doesn't let this, losing become a trend. I really hope he doesn't become, the old Tyler Breeze where he would just come out and lose every single match and then he eventually faded into obscurity. So, Ty Dillinger obviously deserves better, and I hope that they can do that eventually. Jinder then gets on the mic. He cuts a promo saying that, people still disrespect him, telling the people that, they can boo him all they want. He says he brings class, diversity, and excellence to WWE, but you people still cheer for that snake Randy Orton. We obviously get USA chants. Jinder then calls out Randy Orton, saying he's going to bring hell right to Randy next week on SmackDown Live, saying he is going to bring the Punjabi prison to SmackDown Live next week. So, okay, I guess Jinder's going to carry the prison with him to the ring. What does that even mean? Obviously, they're just going to have the prison there and probably lower it down over the ring at some point to kind of build momentum for this match. But quite honestly, man, this was the same old promo that Jinder's been cutting since he became champion. He has not been able to capture that momentum of that promo that he cut once he first became champion. When he came out after that and he delivered that really passionate promo, I was thinking, damn, man, Jinder actually could do this. But ever since then, man, all of his promos have been super weak. I don't know what it is. It's like he doesn't project his voice either. He's like almost whispering into the mic. I really wish he would have some more aggression and more intensity when he's cutting these promos, because I think that would go a long way into making him more believable. And I don't know, man. I'm just not very excited to see another Jinder versus Randy Orton match, even if it's in a Punjabi prison. I'm just tired of seeing the same shit all the time. Anyway, we go into match number 2 of the night, and that is going to be Xavier Woods versus Jey Uso. Right off the bat, I love that Xavier Woods is getting some singles action here. He is so damn good in the ring, and he deserves to get some singles action every once in a while. I feel like he is totally underrated and underutilized in the tag team at times. So I'm glad that he is finally able, to get some respect here and get some singles action to really show what he can do. Unfortunately, this match did not last very long, and I don't think Xavier really got to show his full arsenal of moves. But anyway, the match starts. Xavier starts off hot here, immediately kicking and beating down Jey. It's pretty much all Xavier to start this match. He is doing all of the offense. He hits a huge clothesline off the top ropes onto Jey, then starts beating him down as he hangs off the ropes. Xavier tries to bounce off the rope, but Jimmy grabs his leg as he's bouncing off and trips him. The ref doesn't see it. Kofi and Big E get in the ring and start arguing with the ref and the Usos. The ref then bans all 3 guys from ringside. So he bans Kofi, Big E, and Jimmy from ringside here, so they cannot get involved in this match any longer. The match then finally gets underway again. Jey hits a super kick out of nowhere for a near fall. Then he goes to the top rope, but Xavier gets the knees up on the ensuing move. Jey is then hanging between the middle rope after Xavier kicks him. Woods then heads to the top post, hits Jey with an elbow halfway across the ring as he hangs between the ropes, goes for a pin. 1, 2, 3, Xavier Woods wins. All of a sudden, Jimmy Uso appears out of nowhere and tries to chase down Xavier, but Woods is able to escape, and he leaves the ring alongside Kofi and Big E. So, my thoughts, damn, that was a quick match. I'm glad that Xavier was able to get the W here, but I honestly was expecting a longer match out of these two because Xavier can really go, and obviously Jey and Jimmy Uso are also pretty good in the ring as well, but this was a really quick match, and quite honestly, it didn't really accomplish anything. This was kind of a time waster. All this really accomplished was that it reminded us that the Usos and the New Day are still in a feud, and they're still going at it, and that's pretty much it. So even though it was quick, I do like that, Xavier Woods is getting some singles action here, but unfortunately it wasn't very long, so I hope there is more Xavier Woods single action in the future. Next up, we head backstage. Shane is on the phone with Daniel Bryan. He's telling Daniel, you were right. No one has asked about James Ellsworth. Then Naomi interrupts, and she says there is a lituation. And I'm already thinking, oh God, here comes the cringe. She says that Carmella has the contract, so she can come at any time, any place, and challenge her for the title. But she questions who she is going to face at Battleground in 2 weeks. She says that Shane better not say Lana again, and I'm thinking, yeah, Naomi, I agree. We don't need to see you beat down Lana anymore. Then enter Charlotte. She starts saying something, then enter Becky, then Natty, then Lana, then Tamina. So all the women in the women's division on SmackDown are in the room with Shane, minus Carmella at this point. Shane then says at Battleground, there will be a 5-way elimination match to see who will face Naomi at SummerSlam, which I have my issues about this, but I'll talk about it in a second. Charlotte then questions why Lana is in this match to begin with. Tamina then gets involved, telling her to watch her mouth. Obviously, Tamina and Lana now have a kind of a team together now, I guess. Natty then says Charlotte shouldn't complain if she's genetically superior, saying that Charlotte has only been riding the coattails of her family. Becky then says, "You're one to talk, Brett." I mean, Natty. Shane then sets up a tag match for tonight between Becky and Charlotte and Natty and Tamina. All of the ladies leave, then enter Carmella. Massive boos erupt in San Antonio when she gets on screen, so that heat is still sticking with her. That is good. She brings a petition from her attorney that says that they need to bring James Ellsworth back. She goes on to say that Daniel Bryan was out of control last week by banning him for a month. Shane then looks at the contract or the petition, rips it up, tells her to give it back to her lawyer, and tells her that the decision stands. So that was the end of this segment. I thought this was pretty cringy. I was not really feeling this at all. This was kind of the typical stuff that we've been seeing out of these women since Money in the Bank. Honestly, some of these promos that they cut were the exact same ones that they always cut. You know, the whole, genetically superior, and talking about how either Natty or Charlotte ride the coattails of their uncle or their father. I think it's weird, though, that Naomi isn't going to have a match at Battleground for her title. The SmackDown's women title really has not had much steam lately. All of the steam right now is towards that briefcase, which I think has more importance to it than this title does right now, which is a problem. Everything building around the women's division right now has been outside of the actual title. Like I said, with the Money in the Bank match and obviously all the number one contender matches that we're having, nothing that's actually related to Naomi and her title right now. So I don't know why they're deciding to do this. I don't know why they're not going to have a women's title match on Battleground. I think that's a missed opportunity here from WWE. So I really hope that Naomi does end up getting a match, because if not, it will be a long time before we see that belt defended, and I think that's a shame, man. Naomi can really go in the ring. She needs to have more opponents, and I'm really hoping that once this May Classic women's tournament ends, we can get some of those women onto both brands and really spice up these women's divisions, because right now they are looking bleak and really looking just like they have no other options other than doing these, number one contender matches between the same 5 women all the time. So really got to get some new blood in there, man. Got to find some new challengers, and hopefully Naomi can finally defend her title in a meaningful match, not just a 1-second match against Lana. Next up, we head backstage. It's Renee Young. She's interviewing Baron Corbin. They show a clip of last week where Corbin cheap-shotted Shinsuke with a briefcase. Renee says that Shinsuke is clearly not afraid of Baron Corbin. Then Corbin goes on to say that he's afraid of what he is going to do to Shinsuke, saying that Nakamura needs to learn that Corbin is Mr. Money in the Bank and he is not. He will teach him a painful lesson tonight, saying it will be sayonara Nakamura. So decent promo here out of Corbin tonight. He sounded a little less robotic than he used to be. But here's my thing, man. If you look at the briefcase that the women have right now, look at what it's done for Carmella, man. It has completely changed her as a character. It has instilled her with so much confidence. She comes on screen and she immediately pops. She gets that, she has that heel heat attached to her. The problem is, I don't think that men's briefcase has really had the same effect that it has on Carmella onto Corbin. I think he's still kind of the same character, just now with a briefcase. It's not really elevating him like I thought it would. The women's briefcase has completely changed Carmella, but for Baron Corbin, man, this thing really hasn't done much for him yet. So, I was expecting it to elevate him a little bit more than it has, but it really hasn't done much for his character as of now, and that is somewhat of a shame. Because I can see, I can see Baron holding on to this briefcase for a very long time, like maybe even till WrestleMania. That's how long I could see him holding on to this, because for one, I don't think he's ready to go face Jinder, and I honestly don't see him cashing it in against Jinder. So as long as Jinder is our champion, I don't think Baron is going to cash in the briefcase until we have a babyface on the other end of that title. So next up, we are going to get that Nakamura versus Corbin match. And, like I said, I was thinking, well, aren't we going to get this at Battleground? Why are we getting this match right now? Is it just to build up some heat between these guys? Is it so that they, get used to fighting each other in the ring before they go and do it on a pay-per-view? Who knows? But obviously, it's always good to see a Nakamura match. And I do think that Baron Corbin versus Nakamura will be fun. I just hope that this isn't a long-ass feud. This needs to be one and done, ended at Battleground, and let that be it. Anyway, Nakamura comes out to his full entrance. Obviously, the crowd is super behind that. Then Corbin comes out. Baron then starts jawing with some fans on the ringside ramp. Then all of a sudden, Nakamura comes out of nowhere and attacks him on the ramp. They then go over the barricade. They start fighting in the crowd. Then backstage personnel, like refs and other people, have to come out and try and separate these two. They eventually do get away from each other. Shinsuke hops back in the ring and starts taunting Baron Corbin, but Baron just ends up slapping his briefcase and walking away backstage. So my immediate thoughts, okay, there we go. There's our answer. We aren't getting that match right now. We just got a beat down, and it definitely added to the heat of that match more so than an actual match would have done, I think. So I think this was the right call here from WWE to not have these guys really have their match yet and just try and build some more heat and some more angst between these two characters. Like I said, I'm still excited to see this match at Battleground. But then again, I do hope it's one and done. This doesn't need to be a long-ass feud. We just need to have Shinsuke's Battleground match be something, kind of meaningless here. I wouldn't say it's meaningless because Baron Corbin is Mr. Money in the Bank, and obviously Shinsuke Nakamura is Shinsuke Nakamura. So I just hope that this isn't like a long 3-month feud or anything, and I hope we can move Shinsuke into something way more interesting as we head into SummerSlam. Maybe even a match against John Cena. I think that would be fucking awesome. That is something that has been rumored for a very long time now. Will they give it to us, though? We will have to wait and see. Speaking of John Cena, we have a backstage segment. AJ is getting ready for their match tonight. Cena then enters and starts giving him shit for, making an open challenge, saying that he should think twice and maybe do it when he's gone again because John Cena will accept that challenge if it is truly open. AJ then says, "You did really well with Rusev out there tonight, by the way," obviously being sarcastic. AJ then says John took something from him last time they fought, and he has not forgot about that. He says holding the U.S. title, though, makes him the best, and he will hold on to it for a very long time. John then says, "It's obvious you want to compete with the best, and I respect that." Cena then gives him his word. He says that when AJ needs him tonight in their match, he has his back. Cena leaves and AJ says, "That's good, because I've already gotten yours." Decent interaction here between AJ and Cena. I love that they're still teasing, some tension and possibly another match between each other again. That is obviously something that I want to see, and I think everyone wants to see based off that opening segment and the reaction that it elicited out of this San Antonio crowd. I definitely want to see the rematch between these two sometime down the line, though. It looks like that could potentially happen sooner rather than later, but we will see what happens at SummerSlam, man. Is it going to be AJ versus Cena at SummerSlam for the U.S. title, or will they go a new direction with it? I think all of that is still up in the air, and I don't think WWE even knows where they want to go with this stuff yet. So, anyway, we head into match number 3 of the night. It is going to be the tag team match between Becky and Charlotte versus Natty and Tamina. Tamina and Becky start off the match. Tamina has a couple clubbing blows to Becky's back. Becky then has a drop kick, then a few leg and elbow drops to Tamina. She then goes in and tags in Charlotte. Charlotte looks to German suplex Tamina, but she just can't get her up. Natty then tags in. She ends up stepping on Charlotte, who's laying on the ground, just showing her complete disrespect. But Charlotte kips up and then gets up and chops Natty. She ends up tagging in Becky, who hits Natty with a Bexploder. Becky goes for an attack through the ropes, but misses, and Natty sends her flying into the steel steps as we head to commercial. We come back from break. Natty is in control of Becky. Becky is cut off from the tag to Charlotte, so she's trying to get the hot tag, but she just cannot get it. Tamina is then tagged in, and then her and Natty start the beat down on Becky on their post. However, all of a sudden, Lana appears on the ramp. She walks all the way down to ringside. She's just standing there watching this match. Nothing really happening yet. Obviously, her and Tamina are, best buds now or whatever. So maybe she's there to watch and support her. Not really sure what's going on yet. Becky is desperate for the tag to Charlotte at this point. She nearly gets it, but misses Charlotte's hand. Natty goes for a sharpshooter, but Becky is able to escape, and then she finally gets the tag to Charlotte. Charlotte has just goes off here. She unleashes a series of chops to Natty, then hits a boot to the jaw. Charlotte hits a suplex. Then Lana finally gets on the apron. Charlotte goes after Lana, getting completely distracted here. She swings at Lana, but misses. Tamina, meanwhile, has gotten the tag without Charlotte knowing. Charlotte goes for the figure 4 onto Natty, but Tamina comes in, hits her with a super kick. 1, 2, 3, Natty and Tamina win. So my immediate thoughts here are, well, is Lana back to a manager role? I'm not really sure, because she just pulled her typical sideline tactics that she used to do with Rusev all the time by, distracting Charlotte. Obviously, she has a lot of practice with distraction finishes, considering she used to do it all the time with Rusev, so maybe Tamina is her new Rusev. I don't really know at this point. They didn't really explain their newly found relationship yet. It just kind of looks like they're going to help each other in matches, and that's pretty much it. So nothing really too deep here now, just simply just helping each other in their matches. So overall, this match wasn't bad, but it really didn't accomplish anything either other than progressing the Tamina-Lana stuff just a little bit. But like I said, we still don't know where they're going with that, so we will have to wait and see as well. Next up, we have a backstage segment between Maria Kanellis and Mike Kanellis. It's just Maria Kanellis right now. She walks into the men's locker room. She knocks on the door. Chad Gable answers, and she asks if Sami Zayn is there, saying that Sami Zayn owes her an apology for what he did last week. Gable then says, "Sammy Wow Wow?" And I'm thinking, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Anyway, Gable says it's a thing. I call him that all the time. He looks around in the locker room, but Sammy, unfortunately, is not there. She tells Gable to tell Sammy that the First Lady of SmackDown Live is looking for him. We go to commercial, we come back, and now Maria and Mike Kanellis are on screen. They're being all lovey-dovey. They're like holding a flower, being very obnoxious. Sammy then comes in and interrupts them, and Maria demands her apology. Sammy says that he's already apologized, though, and quite honestly, he's getting sick of apologizing. He even says that he isn't sure why he is apologizing in the first place, saying that they're always in his way. He then asks Mike and Maria what they actually do here, asking him if he even competes. He asks if Maria is the fighter and Mike is the lover. Then Maria laughs and then just slaps the fucking shit out of Sammy. Then Mike takes the flower pot and smashes it on Sammy's head. She then gets in his face and says, "That was brought to you by the power of love, and sometimes love hurts." Obviously, we kind of figured this is where we were going. Sammy has been crossing paths with Mike and Maria Kanellis for a while now. So it looks like this is going to be a match probably between Mike Kanellis and Sami Zayn, possibly at Battleground, but this kind of screams pre-show to me, if anything. I mean, there's no titles on the line. Mike hasn't even had a match since he's been back. So I honestly doubt it's a match that WWE is going to promote, super heavily. And that kind of sucks for Sami Zayn. I mean, I really hate that he's in his current position right now. He's just so fucking talented, and he just can't get over the hump and get into a title picture. He hasn't had a single title since he came to the main roster, and that is an absolute shame considering how great he is. I really hope WWE is able to figure it out with him soon, because he is just far too good to be wasted on these types of storylines, man. And I think it's time. I think he deserves a shot at something meaningful at this point. He's been here for quite a long time now. He's gone from Raw to SmackDown. This is supposed to be the land of opportunity, but unfortunately Sami Zayn necessarily hasn't really gotten any meaningful opportunities since he's come here. So I'm really hoping he can get out of this, over the hump essentially, and get into something important soon. Next up, we have a Texas edition of the Fashion Files. Immediately immediately I'm thinking, fuck yes, this is going to be awesome. It's done in a Walker, Texas Ranger sort of fashion. They call themselves the Sexy Fashion Rangers, and they have a complete, full TV intro, very similar to Walker, Texas Ranger. They even have a theme song jingle here. They come out, they're dressed up as cowboys. I'm not going to go super in-depth into this, man. If you want to see this, I'm sure it's going to be on their YouTube page. It's really hard for me to describe the Fashion Files segments, and mainly because they're comedy, and it's really hard to portray exactly what's so funny about these things. They do some Wonder Woman jokes. Tyler Breeze gets caught up in a lasso, the lasso of truth, as they call it, and then they start asking him questions, trying to get the truth out of him. Mojo and Zack Ryder are also involved in this, and they have a little interaction here, kind of further progressing that tease of their breakup. Ryder's obviously still pissed at Mojo for trying to eliminate him like he did in that Battle Royal, but Mojo goes on to say that it wasn't shady at all. This is a Battle Royal. It's every man for himself, yada yada. Ryder eventually agrees and then leaves. And that's pretty much it. So I thought this was a decent Fashion Files, but it was easily one of my least favorite. I didn't really laugh all that much. It just kind of advanced their storyline a little bit. They're obviously still trying to find out who exactly attacked their office and attacked Breeze. So I think basically what they showed us here, that it wasn't Mojo and Ryder, so we are expected to look elsewhere as far as who was the culprit in that situation. Obviously, they were still teasing some tension between Ryder and Mojo, so I still expect there to be a breakup in the near future. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I do expect it to happen soon. Anyway, man, we head into the main event, which is going to be KO and Rusev versus AJ and Cena. Interesting note, like I said at the top of the show, though, they're still referring to KO as the new face of America. During his intro and all of that. So they're still not dropping that nickname quite yet. So does this mean he's getting the title back in 2 weeks? Who knows, man? We will have to find out. Anyway, the match starts. First, this is Cena's first match since returning last week. It is also Rusev's first match since returning. He starts up against Rusev. We get a very loud "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants. Rusev starts off with a headlock. John Cena is already back here calling shots in the ring. This is my one thing I do not miss about Cena at all. I usually watch the show with headphones on, so you can really hear everything that goes on in the ring, and you can clearly hear John Cena calling spots and telling Rusev what to do. That is absolutely one thing I do not miss about John Cena. As, Botchamania would say, you talk too much. He talks way too much in the ring, and it's so clear that you can tell he is calling his shots and calling spots, telling other wrestlers what to do. Not my favorite thing out of Cena, but I'm still glad that he's back. Anyway, Cena has his typical shoulder tackles onto Rusev, then he hits a running bulldog. KO tags in, and he has a face-off with Cena. KO then starts stomping down on John, then he taunts AJ, who's standing on the apron. They get Cena in the corner, and then they tag in Rusev, and both of them start beating him down. We come back from break. Rusev and Cena are now battling. Rusev hits a spin kick for a near fall. Cena then gets the hot tag to AJ, and then we see AJ versus Rusev for the first time, which immediately makes me think, damn, I kind of want to see more of this as well. It's a new, fresh pairing that we haven't seen. I'd love to see more of this. Anyway, Styles goes off on Rusev, hitting with an elbow. Then he has a kip up. AJ then rolls Rusev up into the calf crusher out of nowhere. Very nice transition. KO, however, comes in and breaks up the calf crusher hold. Rusev gets a super kick to AJ for a near fall. KO gets the tag and he starts beating down AJ on the mat. KO starts dominating AJ here for a while. Rusev then tags in, and they both beat down on AJ in the corner. Rusev hits another spin kick for a near fall, this time onto AJ. He then gets AJ in the bear hug hold in the center of the ring. AJ starts to fade here, but eventually Styles is able to headbutt Rusev and get away. AJ finally gets away. He gets the hot tag to Cena. Rusev then tags in Owens, so we're having Cena versus Owens at this point. Cena just starts going off. He goes Super Cena mode here. He has a bunch of shoulder tackles. He sets up for the 5-knuckle shuffle. He hits it. Then, of course, he sets up for the AA. He gets KO on his back, but then Rusev enters and super kicks Cena. He drops KO. Then AJ then hits the phenomenal forearm out of nowhere onto Rusev. KO comes in, misses a clothesline onto AJ. AJ turns around, hits the Pele kick. Cena then catches KO as he's dazed from the Pele kick, grabs him, puts him on his shoulders, hits the AA. 1, 2, 3, AJ and Cena win. And we go off the air with AJ and Cena doing a little bit of a stare down until Cena raises AJ's hand and they celebrate the win together. Overall thoughts on this edition of SmackDown Live. I thought this was pretty good. I thought it was entertaining all the way through. However, I would have to say that I actually think I liked Raw a little bit more. At the top of the show, I was thinking, damn, this is ending up to be the A show. If we were really about to get Cena and AJ in it to start off the show, that would have been amazing, man. That is a pay-per-view / main event style match. As soon as they teased it, I was immediately invested, but obviously they aren't going to give us that match on TV for free. I thought the main event tonight was pretty good, but however, it was also pretty short. I thought it was nice seeing Rusev and Cena back in the ring, and it kind of just reminds me how many fresh pairings that we can have now that these guys are back. There are a lot of guys that they have not faced and have not seen since coming back, so it'll be interesting to see where they go with Rusev and Cena once they are done with their Battleground match. I really do hope, though, that if AJ is able to retain the U.S. title, he does come back and do the Open Challenge. I think that is something that would be amazing to see. It's one of my favorite gimmicks that they ever did with the U.S. title, and I'd love to see some cool pairings based off that segment. I think we would see a lot more things like Chad Gable and AJ, or whoever else, maybe even Jason Jordan and AJ. I would love to see that as well. The Open Challenge makes it possible for tons of fresh pairings that don't necessarily have to make sense storyline-wise. That is why I love it so much, and it would be awesome if AJ Styles is the one that gets to direct that. I thought the women tonight, they really seemed a little bit lost, man. Naomi not having a match on Battleground is very concerning, given the fact that her last pay-per-view match was also a bit of a throwaway. Obviously, that match with Lana, no one really cared about, and it was pretty shitty, so their belt continues to kind of be in flux right now. It's not really a prominent part of this show, and I think that's pretty sad. They really, really need to get their women's division straightened out here on both shows, to be quite honest. And they need to find a way to stop doing so many of these tag matches where they just throw all the women into the ring at once and get some more women in there, hopefully from that Mae Young Classic tournament, and get some new fresh pairings. I thought Ty getting that match against Jinder tonight, obviously we talked about that, but that was completely forgettable and honestly just a big waste of time. It did absolutely nothing for either of these men. I mean, obviously Jinder beating Ty means absolutely nothing, and Ty losing to Jinder, just like he did, does more harm than good. So not really sure what they're doing with Ty Dillinger at this point. It is looking pretty bleak for him right now. The Fashion Files, I love that it's continuing to get a spot on this SmackDown Live show. I think that's good. I think both of these guys are still great and they're still hilarious, but tonight's episode just didn't really click with me. I've liked other Fashion Files way better than this one. I don't think that they were setting up for Hype Bros versus Breezango either, so, even though they had Ryder and Mojo appear in this segment, it felt like just more of a way to get more guys on this show and kind of progress that Ryder and Mojo storyline a little bit with an appearance on Fashion Files. So not really sure what direction they're headed, and I think it's more of a wait-and-see situation as much of this was on this show. Nakamura Corbin, that continues to be interesting for me. I do want to see that match, but, like I said earlier, I do not want to see it be a long-ass feud. Just have them do their blow-off match at Battleground. Let's set up for Nakamura in an epic match at SummerSlam, because I think it is time for Nakamura to get one of those big main event matches. He's had enough practice on this main roster and on TV at this point, so let's get him into some real action, man. Like I said earlier, I would love it if they did Cena versus Nakamura at SummerSlam. Obviously, that has been a rumored match for a very long time. And they've also been talking about how they want some big-time matches at SummerSlam. And there would not be a bigger fucking match than Nakamura versus Cena if they did that. So hopefully that is the direction they end up going. But overall tonight, guys, SmackDown, I feel like it was just an okay show tonight. It wasn't necessarily bad, but there wasn't anything really great here either. We still don't know where we're going for the U.S. title. They didn't make the KO AJ match official yet. I do imagine that it is going to be KO versus AJ at Battleground. That's the only thing that makes sense here. So the only interesting thing about that, though, is, like I said, I don't know who's going to win that match. It is not predictable at this point. I could honestly see either one of those guys taking it right now. So the fact that I can't easily predict it, that just makes it even more interesting, and it makes it a match that I honestly cannot wait for. So, guys, that was our review of SmackDown Live from July 11th, 2017. As always, guys, you can follow us on Twitter at @ramble_cast. If you ever have any questions or concerns, or you want to have something read on the air, leave us a comment on YouTube or send it in to royalrambleradio@gmail.com. Of course, subscribe to our YouTube page. That is the destination to listen to the Royal Ramble podcast. Or you can always check us out on the go over on Podbean, which is royalrambleradio.podbean.com. Again, guys, I am Zach Stevens, and I am out. Peace.